Hi everyone, I am Dr. Larry Frieder, and today I wanted to show you a little tutorial on setting up a home office, or just when you're working on the computer a lot. I know a lot of us are home now, and even if you're not working from home, you're probably spending more time on the computer than you usually do. And so I wanted to give you a few tips on how to set things up more ergonomically to put less strain on your body. And then I wanted to show you some of my favorite stretches to do while seated at the computer. So the first thing I like to do is adjust the chair to the table. Now this is for any computer really, or at work, at home, whatever. First the chair to the table. And this particular chair is a little low for the table, so you can see I just grabbed these wooden slats from the garage. They're the same width, and they raised the chair up a little bit so that when my hands are on the keyboard, my arms are pretty much parallel to the floor, and my arms are kind of at a 90-degree angle. And you know, if the chair is too low, then your arms are kind of sitting up like this and kind of pushing up into your shoulders. So I raised it up a little bit to get the right angle there. The next thing is for someone like me who tends to be shorter, my legs tend to kind of hang or dangle. And even when they're flat on the ground, if you notice there's a lot of pressure pushing the edge of the chair into your hamstrings, that can restrict blood flow. You get numbness and tingling and cold feet. And also with a lot of pressure on the hamstrings, it tends to pull on your pelvis and give you this kind of very familiar posture. And so I like to use a footrest, and I have this meditation cushion. The footrest gets my knees just a little bit higher than my hips, a lot less or no pressure on the hamstrings. That also allows me to sit back in the chair more comfortable. Without it, my legs slide forward and I slouch. Whoa! And so, Captain Smushy. And so I also like to use a throw pillow. And maybe your particular chair, if you're using an office chair, has a lumbar cushion. I like to add one in for this working at the dining room. And you just put it right there in the small of your back. Some people like it down lower. I like to raise it up a little bit. That tilts your pelvis forward, brings your shoulders back, and gives you a nice upright posture. The next thing is the mouse. I don't have a mouse here, but if I did, I'd want the mouse kind of right here, or right kind of toward the edge, so that my arms are hanging down with gravity. And a lot of times what happens is you push the mouse out of the way to write and to read, and then you don't even realize that you're doing this kind of thing. The more you reach forward for the mouse, the more knots you're going to get in the shoulder. When these muscles get stretched over time, they form knots to try and pull you back. So just having your arm naturally, having the mouse naturally where your hand sits with your arm hanging down. And then the keyboard, in this case a laptop. And when you've got a laptop, it's really helpful to have an external keyboard. This is a nice wireless one. If you don't have one of those, maybe there's a box of wires and CD-ROMs and all that kind of stuff where you've got an external keyboard. If not, maybe a friend has one. And if you want, you can order one on Amazon for like $8. the external keyboard allows you to raise your laptop up to a more comfortable level. So the top of the keyboard screen about eye level, maybe a little bit lower, so that you have just the slightest bit of downward gaze into the center of the screen. And this allows you to stay upright. If you had your laptop on the table, you tend to look like this. So getting in the external keyboard and mouse allows you to get that up. And that makes for a great ergonomic setup. The only other thing is when you're working with a mouse, you might notice that your hand gets pushed up into extension a little bit. The more your hand goes up, the more it can strain or cause a tendinitis or a tennis elbow in these muscles here. And so folding a washcloth or a dish towel or a sponge, something to get a little support under your wrist to flatten it will take a lot of strain off the elbow. And same thing with the keyboard. If you have an external keyboard that has those little easel clips in the back, you drop the keyboard flat if you've got long spindly fingers. And if you have short stubby fingers, you raise the keyboard up a little bit just to kind of reach up and meet your fingers. And that'll create a lot less stress in the wrist and elbows as well. So I want to show you some stretches now that I like to do when I'm sitting at the computer. The first is an eye stretch. The muscles of the eye are contracting constantly to keep you focused close in to your keyboard. And so all it takes to stretch the muscles of your eye is to look at something far away and focus on it. It's nice to have a window where you can look out and stare at the trees and the birds and the squirrels. But if that isn't an option, look across the room at a picture or even a light switch or something and really focus on that far view for a little while. That actually stretches the muscles of the eye and can reduce eye strain, which can cause headaches and neck tension. And then these other stretches I'm going to turn around to show you. The first one is a glute or hip stretch. You bring your heel up to the chair or somewhere around there. Grab the knee and bring it to the opposite shoulder. And just kind of relax, keeping an upright posture, getting this glute muscle to stretch out. It doesn't take much. Just remember, when you're sitting for a while, you're going to be tight, you're going to be a little stiff, certainly not warmed up. So your stretches need to be more patient, more gentle, and just sort of take your time. It's better to do a stretch not as long than try and push into it. So after this stretch, you drop the knee and lean forward. And that gets the hip rotators. And you can even give just a gentle little bit of this, elbow on the knee. And then you come up, drop the knee, bring your knee to your opposite shoulder. After stretching that for a little bit, drop it and lean forward, maybe a little push on with the elbow, and then come back up. The next one is spinal flexes. We're sitting upright, we have our hands on our knees, and we're going to flex forward, leading from the chest, and then pull the chest back. So kind of like if you've ever done cat-cows on the floor, this is a cat-cow seated. And you'll notice my face is straight ahead, so I'm not bringing my chin down or up. I'm just coming from right here. And you want to inhale forward and exhale back. Inhale forward, exhale back. After spinal flexes, you can bring your hands up onto your shoulders so your thumbs are in the back, your fingers in the front, as best you can. You might be a little stiff. Your arms are parallel to the ground, and you're going to inhale left and exhale right. And you can start more shallow. You don't have to really crank it. You don't have to go all the way to the end of range. You might start shallow, and as it warms up, you can go a little deeper or a little faster. And you're going to move your head with the movement of your spine. So we're going to go inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And it's always nice to close your eyes when you're doing stretches, just because it's always nice to give those eyes a break too, and just close them down. Get them nice and lubricated by keeping them closed. So exhale and inhale. And now for the neck, there's a couple of ones we can do. We can just do simple range of motion exercises. Turning left, turning right, side bending left, side bending right, looking up, looking down. Again, turning left, turning right, side bending left, side bending right, looking up and looking down. Another one you can do, or in addition to, are neck rolls. Now neck rolls you really do have to do slowly, and you might start shallow with little circles, almost like the top of your head is drawing a circle on the ceiling, kind of like a laser beam. And then as you start to loosen up, you start to go a little bit deeper. You're going to inhale back, exhale forward. And then you change direction. Maybe you do 5 on each side. Inhale back, exhale forward. Do not do this exercise if you get lightheaded or dizzy. Same with the range of motion exercises, particularly going back into extension. Do not do them if you get dizzy. So there's a little ergonomic assessment for your workstation, a few stretches to keep you loosened up and alert. And most of you know I do digestive life coaching. And I'm doing a lot of coaching now around stress and anxiety with all this craziness that's been going on and being at home. So if you're interested in chatting with me to see if we're fit to do some coaching like that, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to do a chat. Thanks for watching. Hope you're well, and take care.